An NFL insider reported yesterday that the Dallas Cowboys would find it laughable to trade for Russell Wilson. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. And NFL insider Jane Slater reported that the idea of the Cowboys trading for Wilson is extremely unlikely. They're focused on signing Dak. Now, we know that as of last week, amid these trade rumors, that there were 4 teams that appeared that were revealed by Russell Wilson as far as destinations he would be willing to be traded to. Obviously, the Cowboys were one, but the Bears, the Saints, and the 4th team was the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, big markets helps when you have a wife who's a huge celebrity. So we understand why those big markets were a draw. Now, for posterity's sake, for the Cowboys to even consider doing this, they'd have to give up at least 3 first-round draft picks or get Dak Prescott to not only sign the franchise tag, but then sign him to a longer deal so that way they could make the salaries match up. And of course, of the 4 teams, the only team to actually come out and say anything publicly was the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if we take this report at face value and we say that this is a legitimate report, that this option is really on the table. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, should you trade for Russell Wilson? Absolutely yes. A resounding yes. And they'd be nuts if they're not at least considering a trade. In fact, what would be laughable is if they don't consider this trade. It's laughable that they find it laughable, but more laughable if they totally disregard the trade whatsoever. So I don't think we've been appreciating Russell Wilson for the past couple of years, because if the Dallas Cowboys legitimately refuse to engage in a talk, again, this doesn't mean they're actually going to trade for him, but if they're not going to consider it, then that's epitomizing the ineptitude and the imprudence shown by Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, because there's no way in hell in your sane mind that you would not consider. Again, doesn't mean you have to act on it. Consider the trade is a preposterous decision not to do it at all. You're looking at a guy in Russell Wilson, and I don't want to hear, oh, well, Dak Prescott is better than Russell Wilson because the Cowboys squeaked by the Seattle Seahawks in a playoff wildcard game 3 years ago, 24-22. Ezekiel Elliott rushed for 137 yards in that game. Russell Wilson had more passing yards, had a better QBR than Dak Prescott in that game. I don't want to hear that it was because of Dak Prescott's heroics, even though he completed some good throws and he picked up some clutch first downs with his legs. I don't want to hear that it was Dak Prescott beat Russell Wilson in the playoffs. No, the Cowboys, riding the legs and the back of Ezekiel Elliott, beat a depleted Seattle Seahawks team that didn't have any weapons. Think about what Russell Wilson has been accomplishing here. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl. He's in the MVP conversation every single season. He's made the playoffs in 8 out of his 9 seasons as a starter. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards in 4 seasons this year. And he's been doing this with Tyler Lockett, who's a 3rd-round draft pick, Doug Baldwin, who's retired but was an undrafted player, and no run game. Apologies to Chris Carson. I'm sorry. They're never healthy, and I know he had Marshawn Lynch at one point in his career, but he's had no run game throughout the prime of his career. Again, right when he entered the league, he had Marshawn Lynch, but the last 4 or 5 seasons, he hasn't had any run game. So I don't want to hear that Russell Wilson isn't talented enough for the Dallas Cowboys, because what Russell Wilson does is he's able to elevate the level of play of his teammates akin to Tom Brady. I'm not saying they're the same, but that trait is what Russell Wilson possesses, similar to Tom Brady, is their ability to elevate the confidence and the overall impact of the players around them. And so not only would you be pairing Russell Wilson with an Amari Cooper with a Michael Gallup, with a CeeDee Lamb, with a run game. Imagine what Russell Wilson would do with those weapons at his disposal. Not to mention he's extremely marketable, would flourish in Dallas. Marketing perspective, he's absolutely dream piece to add there. And it's no knock on Dak Prescott, but health is an important factor here. It really is. And I'm hoping for a healthy and a full, speedy recovery for Dak Prescott. I sincerely hope that ankle can recover, because he is the consummate professional. He's beloved in Dallas. The fans, the city, the organization truly does love Dak Prescott. And I'm sure that they deep down really want to retain him. But Russell Wilson, knock on wood, I'm knocking on wood for him, has displayed no history of injuries. And at the quarterback position, at the one position where when you're on offense, they touch the ball on every single snap, I need to be sure that the guy that's at the helm is available. The best ability is availability. And while I believe that Dak Prescott will recover well and he'll continue to be a good quarterback, he's not at the same level as Russell Wilson. So Jerry Jones, you're 78. You're wanting to see the Dallas Cowboys not obviously you want to see them win one more Super Bowl, but at least compete for a Super Bowl one more time while you're still alive and the proud owner of the Dallas Cowboys. This is something that you at least need to consider. Again, the Seattle Seahawks, I wouldn't think about this trade at all. I wouldn't engage in this trade at all. But if you're Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and the Cowboys, it's laughable that you think it's laughable to trade for this guy. So, because again, I'm not saying that the Seattle Seahawks would do this, because they wouldn't, or if they really shouldn't, but you have to evaluate all of your options and at least consider all of your options. And if you're not doing that, you're doing a disservice to your franchise, to your organization, and quite frankly, to your teammates. Now, again, I know from a sentimental standpoint, Dak Prescott should be a Dallas Cowboy. I hope he remains a Dallas Cowboy. But if you're not entertaining this trade, you're doing a great disservice to your team.